Bienvenue everyone! This is StreakyGeek and you are watching Desert Island 7. Today we'll be looking at games developed by Radical Entertainment. The company was founded in 1991 in Vancouver, Canada. Throughout the 90s they produced a number of licensed games from franchises like Mario, The Terminator, Beavis and Butthead, Speed Racer and the NHL. They were acquired by Bienvenue, a Sierra company, in 2005, but were mostly left to their own devices to make great games. In 2008, they were bought out by Activision, and around a year later, the label was gone and its employees used to assist other Activision projects. The first game on this list is probably going to have people rushing for the dislike button, but hear me out on this. When Monsters Inc. Scream Arena was released as a GameCube exclusive, the film it was based on was already months old, which wasn't a good start. It's also very trendy to hate on licensed games because many of them are quick cash grabs, but this seemed to get a savaging from critics because it was only a dodgeball game and not the 3D platform action adventure they were expecting. Was it the best use for a Monsters Inc. game license? No. Is it a great dodgeball game with nice controls, a wide variety of different gimmick ball types to play with, and a large cast of perfectly rendered Pixar characters accompanied by a fun soundtrack? Yes. That's why I'm taking it to a desert island. It's not one of Radical Entertainment's best games, but it's very different to anything else on this list, so it earns its place over arguably better games that are too similar to those on the rest of this list. On paper, this may seem like my perfect type of game. The reason it's not higher on the list will be revealed later on in the video. In Prototype for the PlayStation 3, you play as Alex Mercer, a man infected by a virus that gives him godlike super strength. He then embarks on a mission to punish those responsible for creating this irresponsible virus, and in the meantime, he is free to destroy anything in his path. This sandbox game is completely insane. You have the ability to run up buildings, throw cars, and smash anyone you like into a squidgy pulp. The levels of violence and blood are completely over the top, and this is a great arena for releasing your inner maniac. The sequel, shown in the intro, featured a new protagonist, James Heller, and featured similar gameplay to the first game. It was unfortunately Radical's last game. As the games are so similar, I chose the original over the sequel purely to have a self-contained story. It's fair to say that some of Radical's games have been heavily influenced by other games. The Simpsons Road Rage, shown during the intro, is basically Crazy Taxi set in Springfield, a fact not unnoticed by the original's creators. The Simpsons Hit and Run on the PlayStation 2 is a game I would call Grand Theft Auto for kids. You get in your car, drive around town, running people over if you like, and completing missions on foot while at your destination. The graphics look great in this game, and you really feel like you're in Springfield as you travel around meeting all the famous characters from the show, voiced by the original cast. It makes for an enjoyable playing experience and reminds you of when the series was great. It's just all round great escapism, an essential quality for a game in the collection of a desert islander. In 1984, Russian game developer Alexei Pajitnov released one of the most famous video games of all time, the connecting tile puzzle game Tetris. It has been released on virtually every console and computer ever made since, and has been played by more people than any other video game in history. The reason that it's still so popular is because it's such a simple concept that anyone can play it, but you'll keep coming back just to try and last a little bit longer next time. Tetris Worlds for the original Xbox is a great version because it contains so many different modes that give a timeless game even more variety. You also have the added bonus, if you can call it that, of a sensual female voice calling out each time you clear lines with single, double, triple, and the pièce de résistance, the 4-line Tetris. Just try to ignore the fact that they actually wrote a story to try and give these inanimate shapes some character and a purpose. Radical made a trilogy of Crash Bandicoot games during their lifetime. While not as well regarded as the original Naughty Dog games, they are becoming more popular over time. With their second and third games, Radical gave Crash a tribal-looking makeover that was generally unpopular with the fans. Those games were Crash of the Titans and Crash Mind Over Mutant. While those are both worthy games, I've chosen Crash Tag Team Racing, shown here on the GameCube. It keeps the original look of the character and effectively gives you two games in one. The 3D platform game, where you explore areas unlocking secrets, beating up ninja penguins for cold hard cash, and earning gems and outfits to unlock more content. The other game is obviously the racing game, the sequel of sorts to the much loved Crash Team Racing on the PS1. The game has also been influenced, shall we say, by Mario Kart Double Dash. During races and battle arenas, you can choose whether you want to drive, leaving the NPC to attack, or man the guns and let him do the driving. So with the shooting, you could even say there are 3 games here at a push. There's just a lot of variety on offer here, making it my must-have Crash game. Speaking of shooting, say hello to my little friend! Based on the classic 1983 Brian De Palma film starring Al Pacino, this game picks up during the final scenes of the film. Let's just say it changes the ending quite a bit to set things up for this game, which acts as a sequel. Fortunately, Pacino allowed his likeness to be used this time, something I wish he'd done for the Godfather game. Everything handles very well here, and the shooting is fast and fun. The more enemies you kill, the higher your, bravado rating becomes. At least that's what I'm going to be calling it here. When it maxes out, the game goes slow motion, allowing you to clear out the room while you're seeing red. There are many cutscenes from the film, and the atmosphere is spot on. But the neat touch I love is the almost medical precision the game has in telling you which body parts you hit on each opponent while you paint the room with bullets. It's becoming a bit of a mantra already on Desert Island 7, but this game has a great story and missions to follow, but also serves as a dip in and out shoot fest. And now for the jewel in their crown, Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction for the PlayStation 2. This is one of my favourite games of all time. It's similar to the prototype games, and there's a reason for that. Radical were working on a new Hulk game for the 7th generation consoles when they lost the license, so they repurposed what they had into a new IP. While those games are great, the gore might not be to everyone's tastes, and who wants to play as some guy when you can be the Hulk? Their first attempt at a Hulk game was also very good. Just called Hulk, it was based on the disappointing film of the same name directed by Ang Lee. They took all that was good about that and improved it for this ultimate superhero sandbox game where New York City is your plaything. Much like GTA, you can play through the missions and follow the story, or just go nuts. The destruction you can cause in this game is borderline euphoric. You can punch through vehicles, slam them up and down on people, or tear them in half to fashion a makeshift pair of metal boxing gloves, as if Hulk isn't destructive enough by himself. You can tear trees out of the ground and throw them like javelins, or swing them around like clubs. You can grab people and smash them into the ground, or throw them out to sea. Climb up a building with them, only to launch them across town, or just knock them out by simply flicking them with your finger. All of this just never gets old. The pure joy of jumping through the air fist first into an attack helicopter only to pick up its flaming remains and throw that at another one is just one of life's simple pleasures. If you made it this far, then cheers for the support. I have dozens of videos planned and will try to get them out at a reasonable rate. Please share, like and subscribe. You can follow me as StreakyG on Twitter and StreakyGeek on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch and Patreon. So that's a wrap, and stay groovy.